Türk-Belçika-Lüksemburg Ticaret Derneği'nin organize etmiş olduğu webinarlar serimizin bir yenisine hoş geldiniz. Bu seferki webinarımızın konusu Lüksemburg, Lüksemburg'daki yatırım ortamı, inovasyon ortamı ve şirket kurulumu ve imkanlarla ilgili bilgilendirmeler yapılacak. Lüksemburg'dan çok değerli 3 adet konuşmacımız olacak. Lüksemburg İnovasyon Merkezi ve Lüksemburg Ticaret Odası'ndan katılımcılarımız olacak. Dear guests, dear members, evet.
Bir ya da 2 dakika beklesek çünkü saat 11 başlangıç demiştik. Şu anda 10:59. Evet. Sanırım yeni bağlanıyordur insanlar. O yüzden kusura bakmazsanız.
Birkaç dakika daha bekleyebiliriz.
Evet.
Bekleyebiliriz. Evet, zaten aşağıda görüyorum katılımcılarımız şu an artıyor. 24 oldu. Evet, değerli misafirler hoş geldiniz demeye devam ediyorum size. Bir yandan da yeni katılımcılarımızın sayısı çok arttığı için beklemek istiyorum webinarımıza başlamadan evvel. Belki 1-2 dakika içerisinde başlarız. Pandemi sürecinden beri Türk-Belçika-Lüksemburg Ticaret Derneği olarak mümkün olan etkinlik imkanı webinarlarla devam ediyoruz. Bildiğiniz gibi daha evvel 10'a yakın webinar gerçekleştirdik ve büyük ilgi olmasından dolayı da çok memnunuz. Sizlerin de umarım faydalandığınızı zannediyorum. 1 dakika içerisinde belki tekrardan alarak başlayacağız. Değerli dinleyenler, hepiniz tekrar hoş geldiniz diyorum. Türk-Belçika-Lüksemburg Ticaret Derneği olarak Türkiye'nin, Belçika'nın ve Lüksemburg'un hem ticaret hem de yatırım imkanlarını birbirlerine tanıtarak ticari ve kültürel ilişkilerin geliştirilmesine çalışan 1926 yılında kurulmuş bir dernek olarak faaliyet gösteriyoruz. Webinarımız bugün Lüksemburg'daki ticaret ve yatırım imkanları ile ilgili olacak. Sayın Büyükelçimiz bizlerle birlikte. Lüksemburg İnovasyon Merkezi ve Lüksemburg Ticaret Odası'ndan 3 farklı uzman konuşmacımız olacak bugün. Çok kısa bir bilgilendirme yapmak istiyorum. Konuşma İngilizce olarak gerçekleşecek. Ancak Zoom'un platformunun altında Interpretation düğmesine bastığınız takdirde burada Türkçeyi seçerseniz aynı zamanda simultane Türkçe tercüme de dinleyebileceksiniz. Dolayısıyla orijinal İngilizce dinleyebilirsiniz veya Türkçe tercüme olarak dinleyebilirsiniz. Etkinliğimiz takribi 1 saat, 1 saat 10 dakika gibi sürebilir. Sorularınız olursa Q&A soru cevap butonuna basarak buraya yazabilirsiniz. Sorularınızı konuşmaların sonunda konuşmacılarımız cevaplayacaklardır mümkün olduğu ölçüde. Şimdi yavaş yavaş webinara başlıyoruz. Dear guests, dear members, I would like to welcome to you all. We are beginning to our next webinar. This time it's about Luxembourg. And I give the floor to Mr. Levent Apaydin. He is our president of our chamber in Turkey. He is going to open this webinar. Please, Mr. Levent Apaydin.
Thank you. Her Excellency, Madame Angèle de Cruz, Mrs. Hedberg and Mr. Foy from Luxinnovation, Mrs. Welter from House of Entrepreneurship, members of Belgian-Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce in Turkey, dear entrepreneurs, investors, exporters, traders, ladies and gentlemen. It's not by coincidence that we are gathered today in this virtual meeting room. We have plenty of reasons to discuss this very interesting topic, which is expanding your business across Europe, wide range of opportunities Luxembourg offers. We have expert speakers among us. I personally believe their time and availabilities are as precious as yours, so it's an important opportunity to be able to...
Konuşmacılarımızın vakti de en az sizinkiler kadar değerli olduğu için çok vakit almadan birazdan sözü onlara bırakıyor olacağım.
And to the companies who are members of our partner chambers of commerces and industries. Located in between several of the main European markets, Luxembourg offers an excellent platform for targeting clients across the EU and setting up a pilot installations and demonstration centers that are within easy reach for on-site visits. International trade is greatly facilitated by Luxembourg's stable and business-friendly environment. The highly skilled and multilingual workforce makes it easy to find staff able to communicate with your clients in their own language. Luxembourg has a very stable economy, recently AAA rated, and plenty of other...
sunmuş olduğu.
Değerli katılımcılar, hanımefendiler, beyefendiler, Lüksemburg bize ne gibi fırsatlar sağlıyor ve ne gibi avantajlar sağlıyor hakkında biraz önce İngilizce kısaca değinmeye çalıştığım noktaların dışında Türkiye tarafına bakarsak resmi açıklanan rakamlara göre 2021 yılı Ocak ayında Türkiye'nin ihracatı 15 milyar dolara yükseldi. Bu bir önceki yıl aynı ayı karşılaştırdığımızda %2,5 civarında bir artış olmakla birlikte Türkiye Cumhuriyeti tarihindeki en yüksek Ocak ayı ihracat rakamlarına ulaşıldığını gösteriyor. Dünya ekonomisi 2021 yılında %5,5 civarında büyüyecek öngörüleri yapılırken Türkiye'nin 2021'de %6 civarında büyüyeceğini öngörmekteler. Dolayısıyla inanıyorum ki bu aynı zamanda Lüksemburg ve bize sunabileceği avantajları dinlemek ve eş zamanlı olarak Türkiye'nin potansiyelini değerlendirmek için inanılmaz bir fırsat. Fırsat ne? İşlerimizi büyütüp Lüksemburg ve Lüksemburg'un sunmuş olduğu avantajlarla öncelikle Avrupa'ya ve sonra da dünyaya nasıl açabiliriz'i konuşmak ve dinlemek için bugün buradayız. Ben sözü daha fazla uzatmak istemiyorum. Çok değerli konuşmacılarımız var. En sonunda da soru cevap kısmı yine olacak. Ticaret odamıza üye olmak isterseniz de her zaman bizlerle iletişime geçebilirsiniz diyerek sözü tekrar moderatörümüz, genel sekreterimiz Gürbüz Bey'e veriyorum. Teşekkürler.
Teşekkürler Levent Bey. Thank you very much again. Now I give the floor to Her Excellency Miss Angèle de Cruz, Ambassador of the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg in Turkey. Please, it's your turn, Her Excellency.
Thank you, Mr. Sari. Good morning to everybody. It is a great pleasure for me. Do you, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything
so it's a great pleasure to open today's webinar on doing business in Luxembourg. Let me first thank you, Mr. Apaydin, and through you, your colleagues at the Belgian-Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce in Turkey, as well as the colleagues from Luxinnovation for jointly organizing this webinar. Let me also thank today's speakers and moderator for making themselves available. I will raise two issues. Firstly, the Luxembourg-Turkey economic bilateral relations, and afterwards the role of the embassy's economic section. Firstly, bilateral relations between Luxembourg and Turkey gained momentum, among others, with the opening of the Embassy of Luxembourg in Ankara at the of 2011, but above all, with the state visit to Turkey of His Royal Highness the Grand Duke in 2013. Turkey is an important partner for Luxembourg in terms of trade, as well as in terms of financial products and services. Over the last 15 years, Luxembourg's exports to Turkey have more than doubled. On average, between 2015 and 2019, Luxembourg's goods trade with Turkey reached 158 million euros. Exports amounted to 134 million euros and imports totaled 24 million euros. In 2019, excluding EU member states, Turkey was Luxembourg's 8th largest trading partner. As for 2020, the forecast projects an increase in Luxembourg's exports to Turkey, while imports remain steady. Thus, we expect trade between our two countries to exceed 180 million euros. Trade between Turkey and Luxembourg mostly covers steel products, machines, rubber and plastic products, as well as chemical products. Furthermore, in terms of FDI, of foreign direct investment, Luxembourg is among the top 10 investors in Turkey. We managed to cooperate so successfully by building a relationship based on trust, cooperation, and mutual respect. However, we are convinced that Luxembourg's business presence in Turkey and Turkey's business presence in Luxembourg has not yet reached its full potential. Several bilateral visits over the last years showed that both countries have common interests in exploring to strengthen cooperation opportunities in startups and innovation, finance, automotive, logistics, as well as space. Let me turn to the role of the embassy's economic section. One of our priorities here is to strengthen the bilateral relation between our two countries, including the economic relations. We are the local antenna of Luxembourg agencies, and our mission is to be a trustworthy and reliable partner to expand your business. If you so wish, we are your first step in the Luxembourg market. Our economic section is headed by Mr. Nicolas Corail-Namer. How can we assist you? By providing information regarding the market you are looking for, by supporting you to look for local partners by accompanying you in your administrative tasks, like, for example, company creation, where to locate it, customs procedures, licenses and authorizations, or by advising you how to have a fruitful business in Luxembourg. Let me stop here so that we can start with the presentations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. It's a wonderful opening. Now we are going to presentations, and the first one is from Hällen Hedberg. She's an head of business development in Luxembourg Innovation Agency. Please, Hällen Hedberg, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I will try to share my screen with all of you.
Yes, please.
Let's see. Is it fine?
Yeah.
Good. So good morning, everyone from Luxembourg. It's a fine and snowy day here, very cold the last days, a beautiful landscape around us. I hope that you have been to Luxembourg or that you will be able to go to Luxembourg.
Umarım Luxembourg'a gelmişsinizdir. Gelmediyseniz de umarım yakın zamanda geliyor olursunuz. Beni davet ettikleri için Belçika Ticaret Ateşeliğine, Lüksemburg Elçiliğine çok teşekkür ediyorum. Bugünkü konuşmalarımız inovatif yenilikçilikler ve iş modelleri üzerine olacak Lüksemburg'daki.
Friends, and I'll also give some insight into investment opportunities in Luxembourg. So let's have a look at that. See. Comes to end of slideshow directly. Okay, we'll do like this and then try to. Now you can see, I think this is Luxembourg, which is a very small country, but as has already been stated, between some very important neighbors, France, Germany, and Belgium are all bordering to Luxembourg. We have a very international population here and a very international outlook as well. So almost half of the population in Luxembourg are foreigners, actually. So we have people here from about 170 countries working and contributing to the Luxembourgish economy every day. We also have about 200,000 people coming in across the border from Belgium, France, and Germany to work in Luxembourg. And we are like a magnet, if you wish, in the region, a real engine for the region, which we call the Grande Région, or the Greater Region, which consists of Luxembourg, but also the parts of the countries that are close to us. So for young people with an academic degree and an ambition, it is very interesting to come to Luxembourg to work here. So this is what we see every day, a lot of cross-border workers coming in. We have an export-oriented economy. A high proportion of our economy is depending on the exports. And about 70% of the people who work in Luxembourg are actually foreigners. So let's see. We have a few, let me go a little bit back. So Luxembourg was traditionally based on very heavy industry, iron ore, steel manufacturing, steel production, and also agriculture were the sort of cornerstones of the economy in Luxembourg up until the 1970s, when things started to change. We became a very attractive destination for international banks, international commerce, etc. So a lot of people started to move into Luxembourg in the 1970s. This is also when the EU institutions settled in Luxembourg. So actually, if you look at the working population of Luxembourg today, the financial industry with the banks and the financial institutes taken together, that's still the largest employer in Luxembourg. The second largest is the European institutions. So we have some very important European institutions here, like the European Investment Bank, the Commission, the Parliament, all have their bases here. And we have also the Court of Justice of the European Union. But then we are trying to diversify the economy of Luxembourg to bring in other sectors. The government is working hard on this together with some other players. like industry already established in Luxembourg, like the university and the research centers, which I will come back to, etc. So it is a big ongoing effort to try to diversify the economy and turn it into a data-driven and sustainable economy for Luxembourg. So these are some of the areas that we are focusing on now. Logistics, so we are a big logistics hub already in Luxembourg, with the 6th largest airport for cargo freight in Europe. A very much used airport. I live just beneath it, so I can hear the cargo planes coming over the house. But this is an important factor in the economy. We also have a direct train to China, for example. We are on the axis between France and Germany in terms of the highway. We are in the middle of the north and south of Europe, with all the goods coming to the big ports in the Netherlands, going down to south of Europe and vice versa. So logistics is a big part of our economy, and it has a tendency to grow. We are investing in clean technology. This is a big effort also, and it will grow even bigger with a Green Deal package from the European Union and European Investment Bank. So a lot of focus on the circular economy will be very important for Luxembourg in the next years to come. And here we are looking for international expertise. There is already, of course, domestic companies working in this, but we are looking for international investments here as well. E-commerce, commerce, ICT, media, very important in Luxembourg. I think my colleague David Foy will go into this sector about digitalization a bit more after me, but we have some really key players here. You, of course, know that fintech is very big in Luxembourg. Artificial intelligence, we have some e-commerce companies that are very important here, like Amazon, which has their head office for Europe in Luxembourg. Health technology, med tech, health tech, coming very strongly. We can see a lot of companies from abroad now wanting to place themselves in Luxembourg because of the proximity to the big players in Europe in pharma, which are close to us, in Flanders, in Germany, etc. And also because we are a good hub for production and other reasons. So we can see a big influx of the health technology to Luxembourg. Smart mobility, we are also focusing on. So we have a few important facilities, like a cross-border testbed for autonomous driving and development of EV vehicles as well. The manufacturing industry has always been strong here, but there is a continued focus on manufacturing. Space is a new industry which was mentioned previously, and it is very important. So we've had a lot of efforts from the government into the space industry. And actually, I think that there is close to 300 companies in Luxembourg today that are involved in the space industry, including, of course, a lot of startups in this field. So this is an area of focus for the government, which is very important. We are driven by innovation. So the government has put in place some forward-looking policies to forward the economy of Luxembourg. It's a data-driven economy. We have invested in a HPC, high-performance computing facility, which will start its operations in a few months. We have a lot of focus on artificial intelligence, Industry 4.0, sustainability, circular economy, the third industrial revolution, and as I said, some new horizons in terms of space. We are an ecosystem with a holistic approach. So we are a small country. It is very easy for us to come to fast decisions. We can move very fast because it is a closely knit community here. So we have research capacities, coaching and advice. We have startup acceleration and funding and clusters. All that is in the focus of what we do at Luxinnovation, which is really a branch of the Ministry of Economy. So our task is to help companies to scale up, to grow, and help them to invest and take them forward in areas like digitalizations, etc. We work very closely with public research centers. So the University of Luxembourg is quite a new university in Europe, but has already climbed the rankings and is very mature already in some disciplines like biomedicine, IT, security, computer science, reliability and trust. We have communication, law, economics, and finance there. Also the humanities, of course. The University of Luxembourg has already cooperation with universities in Turkey, like the Istanbul Tech University, University of Ankara, and Boğaziçi University. So there are already ongoing collaborations there. Then we have a number of research centers that are also very important and can be important for industry to link up with in terms of financial benefits as well. Those are listed: Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology, Luxembourg Institute of Health, the IBBL, which is the biobank, and then LISA, which is the Luxembourg Institute of Socio-Economic Research. We have a startup ecosystem in Luxembourg, which is impressive. It's impressive because it started quite late. So only like 5 years ago, we just had a very small, like a handful of startups. But now it's growing very fast. We have about 15 incubators in the country. We have more than 350 startups in the range of ICT, space, fintech, health tech, clean tech, cybersecurity. We have a program called Fit for Start, which is open also to international startups, and you can find all the information on the Fit for Start on the Luxinnovation homepage. We have financing for startups. We have growth programs, pitching contests, national subsidies, business angels, banks and VCs. And we organize a lot of
anonim ortaklıklar, bazı yarışmalar ve söz konusu olabiliyor startupların faydası adına. Burada çeşitli kümelenmeler söz konusu.
and manufacturing cluster, the creative industries cluster, and the wood cluster. So if you're a member of those clusters, you can also benefit from a lot of aid and help that you can receive from your partners in the clusters, but also from the Ministry of Economy and Luxinnovation. We have attractive funding measures. If you establish a company in Luxembourg, you will be entitled to apply for these kind of funding measures. So from the Ministry of the Economy, there are R&D projects. There is innovation aids for SMEs. There is aid for young innovative enterprises. There is aid for process and organizational innovation. There is also investment aid for research infrastructure and innovation clusters. The National Research Fund is funding mainly research, but the research can also involve companies. And PhDs, for example, can be financed to support companies and the research institutes in their ventures. We give coaching and advice. That is from our organization, the Luxinnovation, which is the National Innovation Agency, and also from House of Entrepreneurship. We will later hear Chris Welter, our colleague from the House of Entrepreneurship, talking about how to create a company in Luxembourg. So that is a one-stop shop for company creation and management. And we give all this help for free. So if you're eligible, you can get a lot of support as a company in Luxembourg without having to pay high fees to, for example, consultancies. This is just to show you Luxinnovation. So we're a public-private partnership from the Ministry of Economy and the Ministry of Higher Education and Research. We also have the Chamber of Commerce, the Chamber of Skilled Craft, and an organization called FIDIL, which is our sort of mother organizations and are included in our public-private partnership. This is our vision. So we want to be a trusted partner for entrepreneurs to find pragmatic solutions for their innovative business development ventures, in line with the objectives of the government to develop Luxembourg's economy in a sustainable manner through innovation and research. And the mission of Luxinnovation is to encourage and support companies to innovate and grow in a smart manner and to prepare themselves for the challenges of the future, which brings new and potentially disruptive technologies to Luxembourg. We want to facilitate collaboration between Luxembourg public research and companies, and we want to ensure that Luxembourg continues to attract international investments, companies, and skills that are a perfect fit for the country. So I added a little slide on the relations with Turkey. As Madame Ambassador Cruz already told us, there is a lot of trade going on between Luxembourg and Turkey already. We have a trade volume of about $160 million per year, hoping that this will go up to 180 million soon. We have a very engaged and active Embassy of Turkey to Luxembourg that has been here for many years. We have also a Turkish Chamber of Commerce in Luxembourg. The export from Turkey to Luxembourg is traditional, very heavy industry, most of all. It's rubber tires, iron, steel products, vehicles, oil, fuel, telecom, electrical products. And from Luxembourg to Turkey, machinery parts, iron, steel products, chemical products. And we have about 5,000 tourists every year from Luxembourg coming to Turkey. I didn't find the number of Turkish nationals coming to Luxembourg for tourism, but I can really recommend it. It's a nice place, beautiful valleys, beautiful castles, very nice wine, and a very friendly population in Luxembourg. So I can highly recommend tourists to come here. As you see, the import and export, the trade between Luxembourg and Turkey is quite heavy industrial, and we want that to grow, of course, but we would also welcome companies from Turkey to come to Luxembourg in one of these newer areas that I talked about, fintech, AI, space, and clean tech, circular economy, etc. So please know that we are interested in those kind of partnerships too. So that is all for my part. You can contact me through the seminar if you wish in the chat, and you can also write to me My email address is on the webpage of Luxinnovation, so please don't hesitate, but let me know if you would like to come to Luxembourg, and we can set up a nice visit for you, either virtual or we hope in real life in the near future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hedberg. It's very opening and enlightening presentation. Now we go to Mr. David Foy. He is a second speaker of us and head of business development for digitalization in Luxinnovation. Mr. David Foy, the floor is yours, please.
So thank you very much for handing me a moment to explain our digital landscape in Luxembourg. I understand that the main interest between Luxembourg and Turkey at the moment lies in heavy industry. I think we've seen that a few times, but I'd like to explain to you how our digitalization and our data-driven digital innovation strategy has been put together, and how that can possibly maybe accelerate other sectors, other service sectors growing between the two countries. And we saw very quickly the map of Luxembourg here. I just wanted to point
Luxembourg'un haritasını görüyorsunuz. Çok son derece çeşitlilik bir söz konusu insan çeşitliliği bakımından. Luxembourg'da birçok çeşitli dil konuşuluyor. Ama İngilizce de sıklıkla konuşulan dillerin başında geliyor.
an official language that you can contract in. So you don't have to translate from Turkish to German or Turkish to English to German you can just do it in English. It was mentioned very quickly some of the multinationals that we have in Luxembourg. They're all here for different reasons. None of them are going to show you are tax reasons. Mainly it's for access to the European market. When we talk about companies setting up here just as a fiscal backend, one of the examples could be Amazon. I mean, they started here with their backend simply sitting in a data center, and they're over 1,000 employees today. Vodafone have their global procurement center in Luxembourg, and the rest, I mean, there's a story behind each one of them. It was mentioned where Luxembourg came from, so agriculture and steel. Round about the year 2000 was when laws and requirements came out for the financial sector to have off-site disaster recovery planning or business continuity. So that's when a lot of investment was made into the data center world in Luxembourg, and we'll touch on that slightly. And putting those data centers in Luxembourg accelerated the digital growth of the country. But what you can see from here is that the whole of Luxembourg is a startup nation. We don't have any natural resources. We don't have any real big industry to speak of today. So we're continually reinventing and growing based on diversity. And you can see from this slide, you know, diversity really is the key today. When we look at the European Commission innovation strategy or digital transformation program, they've released 9.2 billion euros to support European initiatives on digital transformation. You can see that digital skills is a big one. And as we go through transformation, obviously we need to be retraining people or reapplying people to the economy. Cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and we'll see now how we put those together, how that maps to the Luxembourg innovation strategy. So our strategy is based on these three pillars. And although this is very digital or data oriented, this could also apply to many other sectors. I saw in the Q&A, we have some student questions coming through. We have construction coming through. There's transport. So this can apply to all of that. So the first pillar that you see at the top, boosting and assuring digital infrastructure capacity. This refers to the investments that are made in data centers, in telecommunications, in infrastructures that are ready for smart city applications and autonomous driving. Just to give you an example from a data center point of view, Luxembourg hosts 40% of the European capacity in Tier 4 data centers, Tier 4 being the highest level of availability and security. If you go back to 2005, there was one telco line in and out of Luxembourg internationally. And today we have 27 international telecom providers with their own lines coming into Luxembourg. So we have very fast, very low latency, high capacity communication from those data centers around the world. As we go down from that one clockwise, ensuring regulatory environment, we're also very lucky in Luxembourg that our policymakers understand the business. What that means is that quite often we see regulations being put in place that actually slow down innovation. But the fact that the policymakers here understand why this technology is required for to grow the businesses, it's quite often a boost for innovation. Policies are put in place that push companies to.
Bu çalışmaların hızlanması için hukuki düzenlemeleri, mevzuat düzenlemelerini geliştiriyor açıkçası. Biz Lüksemburg'u yaşayan ve nefes alan bir laboratuvar gibi düşünüyoruz. Ve devamlı Avrupa marketini de piyasasında yaşatan bir odak noktası olmasını planlıyoruz. Pandemiden önce de çok ciddi anlamda bir iletişim ve network aktiviteleri, faaliyetleri söz konusu oluyordu.
Globally, I think in Luxembourg it's about 1.5. Everybody knows each other and they're all willing to help each other. We saw very quickly on the previous presentation the key sectors in Luxembourg, and I just want to give you some examples of how we're opening up these sectors for external projects. If we take, for example, Industry 4.0, we have several projects on the go at the moment, one with Goodyear. They have their innovation center in Luxembourg, the only one outside of North America. They're currently in the process of finalizing the construction of Industry 4.0 automated factory. So at the moment, they're building high-end tires and truck tires. So this is to automate that. And they're also working with the Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology to identify the next compounds that can be used for tires, obviously making them more efficient and more economically and green, I would say. From circular and smart mobility, there's so much work going on here today, both in autonomous driving, in research with the university, in cooperation with companies like Volvo, with autonomous buses, and other international companies that are also lending into this smart city vision. So since last year, the public transport in Luxembourg has been free. So that's also been a boost now to try and automate that. So not just make the transport free, but make the whole process automated end to end. Health tech, I'm not going to go through all of these, but health tech, for example, I mean, it was something that was very much on the back burner until obviously this pandemic hit. There are so many projects open today within the health tech sector, and I can be a point of contact for anybody listening today who are interested to find out more about any of these sectors. Logistics, very quickly as well. Not only are we well placed for physical logistics with the cargo center and the trains and the trucks that are centralized, also for digital supply chains. There's an awful lot going on in order to make the whole experience much more fluid. So from cargo telemetry all the way through to sourcing and stocking. And of course, all of that covered by our circular economy strategy that was in the press 2 days ago, I believe now, that was launched by our Minister of the Economy. I'm conscious of the time, so I'll go through here very quickly. Some of the tools that we have open today, one of them we mentioned was the HPC, so high performance computing. If you look globally, high performance computing is very difficult to get access. It's for large corporations with a lot of money and a lot of data. So we're trying to change that round by saying we will build this Euro HPC. So it's part of a European initiative where several member states will have their own high performance node, which will interact with each other. And we will give access to startups, small, medium businesses, but also provide it preloaded with a certain amount of data. So the whole journey, once again, is so much easier. The cost to get in will be lower. The data to do simulations and learning on will actually be present as well. So we're very much looking for companies that are active within that data value chain today, be it simply processing of data or actually the consolidation or collection of data. With that, obviously, cybersecurity is a big point here. I would invite you to look at Security Made in Luxembourg website, or SMILE for short. Again, a private-public partnership which addresses the national cybersecurity, but also down to private companies. Big data, AI, and we opened up an artificial intelligence laboratory with the university and NVIDIA. This also was a couple of years ago now, and they're producing projects that are active from anything from telecommunications through to space research. So it's a very wide portfolio of projects going there. I'm going to skip that for now. So when we look at digital innovation today, we have also this digital innovation hub, which is part of the European Digital Innovation Hub, where we can exchange information on Industry 4.0. We can exchange resources, not just products and services, but also human resources. I think everybody has this global issue today of finding the right person at the right time. I think that the job sector is getting more and more specific today, and it's very difficult to identify and retain those top researchers and developers. Again, Luxembourg is a very attractive place to bring those people, not just because of the salary and the way of life, but also because of these high value research projects that are going on. Again, government grants that was touched on previously. I'm going through a little bit fast, but if anybody has interest in this whatsoever, please reach out to me and we can take it offline. We spoke about the research collaboration between the university and the institutes of health and etc. here. But I just wanted to point out along the bottom here, Digital Innovation Hub we've mentioned, security, cybersecurity we've mentioned. LuxProvide is the company that is running the high performance computing system, which will go live in a couple of months' time. The Gov Tech Lab is a laboratory that's just been set up for research for e-government applications. So you can check on their website. They're making calls for application for projects at the moment. And the last one you can see, the ESRIC, is the Space Innovation Agency as well. Just coming to the end of this, here you can see the support infrastructure that we have for the startup ecosystem. So on the left of here, you can see the institutional startup support and structures. You can see in the Lux Innovation, we play quite a large role in coaching, and the House of Entrepreneurship, who you will have Chris speaking just after myself. In the center, you can see the incubators and accelerators. Many of them are private. Tomorrow Street, for example, is run by Vodafone. Le Plateau is Société Générale. The Loft is our national incubator for fintech. We'll have a different flavor and a different approach. If we look at the events on the right-hand side, a couple that I'd like to draw your attention. If you're a startup, the Arch Summit, or where you can have pitch your startup in there as well. Very startup oriented. If you're an ICT provider or interested in that economy, then ICT Spring is our flagship annual event. We have this program that is being revamped at the moment, Fit for Start, where we invite companies to apply to join this program. We select in 3 different sectors, so ICT, bio, and space. And from there, we will select between 80 to 100 that will pitch, and then we will choose 10 from each of the sectors that will come into this 3-month coaching. And at the end, they will get up to 150,000 equity-free grant. Again, look at the Fit for Start website if you'd like some more information from there. I know you can't read anything on here because it's a very small and very complex slide, but you'll be able to see a little bit of the idea, certainly the diversity of the startups that we have coming through Luxembourg today. Obviously fintech, but mobility, big data, creative industries is very much a growing sector as well today. So I realized that was a little bit quick towards the end, but please reach out to me again through our organizers here or directly through Luxinnovation. So thank you for your time and thank you for joining us. And it's been a pleasure speaking to you today.
Thank you very much, David.
You're welcome.
Yes, it is a detailed explanation. Very well. Thank you very much again. And now we go to the third speaker. She is Miss Cruz Welter. She is from the House of Entrepreneurship of Luxembourg. And yes, Mr. Welter.
Hello.
Hello, you are welcome, and the floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much. Just going to share my presentation. Hope that you can see it.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk to you today about the main steps of setting up a company in Luxembourg. Just for you, I'm going to give you an overview. There are several details for each step, but that would go too far, and they depend also on each product specifically. So about myself, I'm Cruz Welter. I'm working at the House of Entrepreneurship from the Chamber of Commerce. In our direction entrepreneurship, we have 3 big business lines, which is the House of Entrepreneurship, the House of Startups, and the Luxembourg City Incubator. I'm going to come back in detail at the House of Entrepreneurship. The House of Startups is an incubator of incubators, so they're
Girişimciler Evi, Startup Evi ve Lüksemburg şehri kümelenmesi, cluster'ı. Burada girişimciler, startuplara belli destekler sağlıyoruz. Bunların kimisi fiziksel, kimisi fon odaklı olabiliyor, kimisi dijital dönüşüm bakımından. Amacımız girişimleri ve startupları desteklemek, onların büyümesini sağlamak.
To the end when you want to sell or close your company. So there you don't need to hesitate. You can always contact us, and we will try to find either the right partner for you, since we're working together with a lot of partners from the ecosystems as Luxinnovation, for example. Or we will have maybe consult you directly, or have a program that is suitable for you directly. So don't hesitate to contact us. Yeah, as I said, we have a lot of partners. Just to give you an overview here, we are working together with several ministries, organizations from the ecosystem to support companies to develop themselves in Luxembourg. Now regarding the business incorporation Luxembourg, there are a few main steps, which is the first one is the business permit, and then you need to look at the legal forms. You have the different registrations, taxation, and afterwards I'll give you a brief overview again. So regarding the business permit, there are 3 conditions that have to be met. The first one is qualification. So you need to have the right qualification that suits the activity that you want to carry out. Then integrity, this is mainly to prove that you haven't been involved in a bankruptcy before. And then a fixed premise. So you need to show that you have an office here in Luxembourg and that you also live either in Luxembourg or close by so that you can run the company here in Luxembourg. So then regarding this, the business permit, there are several conditions that need to be met. And regarding the qualification, so there are three main set of business permits. The first one is commercial activities. Here, the good news for you is that you don't need to prove any qualification, so everyone can carry out trader activity in Luxembourg, except for real estate activity, where you need to have proof that you have certain qualifications. Then there are liberal professions.
Ticari odaklı, endüstri odaklı bazı aktiviteler için örnekler vermek gerekirse tacir, turizm acenteleri, gayrimenkul acenteleri ve uluslararası taşımacılar. Bunların işte serbest meslek erbapları var, mimarlar. Danışman, mühendisler.
Construction sector. I saw in the question that there was one question regarding if a university degree is sufficient to carry out an activity in Luxembourg as to create a company. In general, it's sufficient, but it depends, of course, of the activity that you want to carry out. Sometimes there's some further proof that is required. Then just for you, which is important for Turkey, is that there's one additional step that you need to follow, which is
Luxembourg bünyesindeki olmayan kişiler için bazı şeylere dikkat çekmek gerekiyor. Serbest meslek erbapları bakımından bir ikamet belgesi söz konusu olabiliyor. Buradaki amaç kişilerden bir Luxembourg'da kalacaklarına dair bir garanti temin edebilmek.
Then there's another business permit that you need to apply for, which is important also for you, is that there's a specific business permit also for family members. So if you ask, for example, for the residence permit for self-employed person, and you have a wife and 3 kids, you don't need to worry. They will receive automatically the residence permit as a family member. So if you decide then to move with the overall family, there's no need to worry. They will take care of you to arrange everything, and you can contact us for that as well. We will help you with all the residence permits. As I said, it's important that you have also a fixed premise. This means that you can't have an office here and just manage it from somewhere else in the world. You need to prove that at least most of your time is spent here in Luxembourg, or that you live close by to be able to manage it. This doesn't mean that you can't employ a manager of the company who takes care of the daily business and that you are the shareholder and that you live somewhere else in the world. Just means that the manager of the company needs to live close by to assure the effective management of the company. Then I said the second part are the legal forms. The first decision that you need to take is whether you want to have a sole proprietorship or if you want to set up a company form. There are advantages and disadvantages for both. It really depends on the company that you want to set up. For international companies, we see more often that people set up a company, either a limited liability, a simplified limited liability company, or public limited company. For each, there's a minimum of capital that you need to set up, and except for the simplified limited liability company, you need to see a notary in order to set up the company. And then there are fillings and publications that are linked to it. As I said, the first decision that you need to take is whether you want a sole proprietorship or to set up a company. Setting up the company means, of course, that your responsibility is limited to the company. So there are advantages and disadvantages for both. Here again, if you have a specific project in mind, you can contact us and we will discuss with you which form would suit you best and to present you the different advantages of the specific legal forms that would then apply to you. How do you activate your business permit? As I said, there are some registrations that you need to do. The first one is at the Luxembourg Business Register. Here, one point that might not be that advantage for people that don't speak French is that the articles of association need to be written in French. At least they need to be published in French. But you can have both. You can have an English version and a French version, which is translated and then publish both versions. But that's just something you need to think about. In any case, if you go to a notary to set up the company, they will write them in French for you in either way, so that you have them in the language needed to publish it on the Luxembourg Business Register. The second one is the Joint Social Security Center. So this means that you need to register at the Social Security, which is in Luxembourg mandatory for everyone. Everyone needs to be registered at Social Security. And here again, you register yourself as a self-employed person and your employees as salary as employees. There are a few differences between them, and I'm going to come back to that afterwards. Then you have the tax authorization, so you need to have a VAT number, but we have an exemption. If your annual turnover is less than 30,000 euros, then you don't need to apply VAT, but you still need to have a VAT number. Regarding the taxation in Luxembourg, just to be a bit more specific, we have two different types of taxations. One part is the income on your personal revenue, so salary in main cases. For your salary, we have branches that are being put up, and then you are being set into classes. So it's a bit complicated, but once you're here, it will be all automatic. You don't need to think about it. You just register, and then everything is being calculated automatically. And then for the company, we have the income tax. And then on that, there's also a calculation which will come up at an overall income tax of about 25%, which depends a bit on which city you register your company. So regarding Social Security, as I said, there are two different systems. First, the system of a self-employed person.
Genel gelirin %25'i aylık olarak sosyal güvenliğe tabi olabiliyor. Veya 26.000 ila 2.200 euro arasındaki bir minimum maaş da burada ikisinden biri bundan büyük olduğu takdirde.
But then in other countries, so we cover really almost everything. If you are sick, if you have an accident, maternity leave, pension, if you have a disability, so all of these are covered, and it also covers you if you lose your job, for example, then you also receive compensation.
Engeller, kıdem, ihbar gibi konularda ciddi anlamda bir avantaj sağlamaya çalışıyoruz.
They will finance the overall costs and then pay you back if you have to advance something. And then just the difference between then self-employed person and the salaried employee is that for the employee, it's half-half. So the 25% are split on 12.5%, which is the employee that has to pay it, and 12.5% that the employer has to pay. So this is a system that has been set up so that everyone is registered at Social Security, and that everyone is covered in case there's an illness or an accident, for example. Just to give you an overview again, I know that there are a lot of informations, and I have been very quick, and there's a lot of details, but you don't need to worry about it. If you have a project in mind, just contact us, and then we will check with you your project, what qualifications you need, what are the steps in the right order, where are you currently. We will put you in contact with partners, so there's no need to worry. This is just to give you an overview of what you need to think about. And then maybe in terms of timing, setting up a company in Luxembourg takes about 2 months. If you start from the beginning where you start collecting documents till the end where you finished all the registrations. The business permit will take 2 to 4 weeks. Then you have the registration of the company, which is 24 hours. Social Security registration, which is about a week. And then the VAT number is again 2 to 4 weeks. But some of these steps can be done simultaneously. So as I said, it's just that you know, it can be, of course, quite fast, but it always depends on different administrations. So it is always good to calculate with 2 months so that you are sure that you have enough time, that everything is being set up in time, and that not that in the end you run out of time and that you are missing a document. So it's good to think about it a bit in advance and then to set up everything afterwards. So that was it from my presentation. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask them now or to contact us later.
Thank you very much, Chris.
You're welcome.
Now we finished the presentations. We got some questions in the Q&A part, and thanks to speakers, they are all answered. But I see that some concentration on the questions. Let me please, before going to maybe get some new questions, just to ask you, this is a general question. Many times our members or our people asking that when it is in fact related to questions. When people from Turkey would like to invest and start a business in Luxembourg, first point of contact will be which institution or who. And when some people from Turkey would like to do just business trade, who is the first point of contact? Could you give general information about that? And it's very useful for the participants. I don't know who wants to speak, or
I can take that if you like.
Yes.
So if there is a company in Turkey that's looking to do business, so just do business in Luxembourg, so purely a commercial effort, trying to find customers, etc. There was a question on the Q&A about this. Somebody looking for specific profiles of companies. We are financed by the Ministry of the Economy, so it's very difficult for us to become an extension of somebody's sales efforts, because obviously, you know, that's something people build a sales team for. They do their business development, they do their research, and that's part of the costs of the company. So if they outsource that to an entity that's financed by the ministry, it's not going to work very well. Having said that, we're always there to provide guidance to people, because if a company wishes to expand, so open an entity in Luxembourg, they're not going to do that unless they can see that there is some business potential, that there are potential clients. And quite often what we say is that Luxembourg, due to its size, there is no domestic market. It's just too small to make anything viable, except in the financial industries, except in construction, so there are exceptions to it. So we will discuss with people, we will help them to meet partners within the ecosystem and within the Grand Region, as we said. So, you know, within a space into France, Germany, and Belgium. And we do that by providing a service called a soft landing, or an ICP, investor care platform, which Cruz, who spoke just previously, works very hard to actually execute. So what we would do is speak initially with the company, find out what their interests are, how we in Luxembourg can help them, if there's a sense behind it, because, you know, we might turn and say, that there's better places for you to be for your business case, or, you know, we will say, okay, do you know what, we'll make an effort to make a business case for you as well. So we will identify the right people, and then invite that company or the representatives to Luxembourg, or virtually as we do it today, and we will get them to meet the right people who could be investors, partners, eventual clients, but then that's that gray line between finding clients for people and, you know, justifying their business. So I would say a first point of contact, if it's purely sales, then unfortunately you're on your own, unless, you know, you can still speak with the people in Luxinnovation. You'll get a certain answer. You'll speak to people in the Chamber of Commerce, even at the House of Entrepreneurship. They're very much available as well. If it's to actually open an entity in Luxembourg, then you can come and speak to anybody in Luxinnovation team. So between Jenny, myself, and 2 other colleagues, we cover pretty much all of the sectors, or we can put you in touch with the people who do cover them. And that includes the House of Entrepreneurship, at the Chamber of Commerce, and also at the Ministry as well, where that's necessary to take the discussion. I hope that answers.
Yes, thank you very much.
May I add maybe 1 or 2 points to this?
Please, of course, please.
I think, yeah, I will go on in Turkish for our audience to understand, although we have a translation. Efendim şöyle, David Foy çok güzel açıkladı. Hangi durumda nereye başvurmamız gerekiyor? Eğer ki biz Türkiye'de yapmış olduğumuz işi büyütmek istiyoruz ve Avrupa Birliği'nde, komşu ülkelerde çok yaygın, çok geniş bir kitleye ulaşmak istiyoruz diyorsanız, yeni bir şirket kurulumu ve bu şirket üzerinden faaliyetlerinizi sürdürmek amacıyla kimlerle iletişime geçeceğiniz çok net. Aynı zamanda ticaret amaçlı, yani sadece satış amaçlı olursa da ne yapmanız gerektiğini söyledi. Benim ilave etmek istediğim husus şu, ekselansları Sayın Büyükelçimizin de belirttiği gibi, Ankara'daki Lüksemburg Büyükelçiliğinde Nikola Koray Namer Bey var ve kendisi bu noktalarda olası bir ticari bağlantı kurma, herhangi bir bilgi alma hususunda son derece yetkin ve etkin bir şekilde görev yapmaktadır. Biz de aynı şekilde ihtiyaç olması durumunda üyelerimize bu noktada destek vermeye gayret ediyoruz. Dolayısıyla bunları da ben ilave etmek istiyorum. Koray Bey çünkü dinleyici bölümünde olduğu için muhtemelen bunları söyleyemeyecek durumdadır. Teşekkür ederim.
Teşekkürler Levent Bey bu açıklamalar için. Now we are going.
Sorry, can I just maybe add one more information? It's just,
please, of course.
Regarding what David also said, is that if you have doubts who to contact, just contact one of us, because we are all working in the same ecosystem. We all know each other. We have a lot of other partners with whom we work. So just contact one of us, and if you by mistake contacted the wrong entity, you don't need to hesitate. We will put you in contact with the right person, if it's within the House of Entrepreneurship, within Luxinnovation, the Ministry of the Economy, or another partner. Just don't hesitate, just contact us, and then we will guide you through everything.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much again. In fact, we got a last question. I think it's important. Maybe we can share your thoughts to the general audience. What about tax advantages and incentives in Luxembourg. I don't want to mention just only tax, but general approach of Luxembourg to the incentives, business incentives, or maybe intellectual property incentives. I know some very specific incentives about that, and also tax advantages in some specific, for example, innovation or invention incentives. What about in that position in Luxembourg?
Maybe I can give a first answer, and then if Jenny or David want to complete. If companies come to Luxembourg, we don't really look at tax advantages, but more at aid schemes that we can put in place. So it's really, there are a lot of different aid programs that are being set up. So regarding innovation, research and development, investment, there is a lot where you can, aid schemes from which you can benefit, which can help you then set up your project here in Luxembourg. So we go more into that direction to put on in aid schemes than to go into a system of tax advantages.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't see any other question, and it's all for me as well. If there is no one to add something, I'm going to
maybe I can add one or two things.
Yes, please.
I will go on in Turkish again. Saygıdeğer konuklar, ister startup olun, ister ticaretinizi daha geniş bir kitleye yaymak istiyor olun, ister Avrupa'nın kalbinde, merkezinde hem lojistik anlamda hem geleceği planlama anlamında son derece etkin bir ülkede iş yapma arayışında olun. İster yepyeni yatırımınızı ya da bugüne kadarki birikimlerinizi değerlendirmek amaçlı bir arayış içinde olun. Öyle sanıyorum ki bugün değerli konuşmacılarımızın vermiş olduğu bilgiler size yepyeni bir ışık tutar ve yepyeni bir yol açar düşüncesindeyim. Şu çok önemli, doğru kişiyi bulmak, doğru kişiden bilgi almak, bir de bambaşka bir ülkede yatırım yapmak ya da bambaşka bir ülkede ticaret yapmak gibi hassas bir konu söz konusu olduğunda her zaman çok kolay olmayabiliyor. Bu nedenle bugün her üç konuşmacımızın da vermiş olduğu bilgiler her ne kadar zaman kısıtlı olsa da eminim hepiniz için son derece aydınlatıcı olmuştur. Dijital inovasyon tarafı, startuplar, şirket kurulumu, avantajlar, Lüksemburg'da neredeyse hiç yerel bir pazar olmayıp da aslında öylesine küçük bir ülke olmasına rağmen dünya ekonomisinde ne kadar söz sahibi olduğunu ve bunu nasıl başardığını bize gösteren deneyimleri bizim neden Lüksemburg'a odaklanmamız ve neden birlikte bir şey yapma arayışında olmamızın sanırım yanıtlarını bize muntazaman veriyor. Bunları ilave etmek istedim Gürbüz Bey. Bilmiyorum ekselansları bir şey ilave etmek isterler mi? Her Excellency, is there anything else you would like to add on top of what has been said until now? Maybe the connection is broken at the embassy. No.
Okay, sorry, I was listening to the interpretation.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I didn't hear when you switched to English.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Apaydin. No, I'd just like to say that to thank again the speakers and the Belgian-Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce and the participants I hope that it was a useful webinar, that you can put Luxembourg on the map, and as you could see, that you have a better overview and understanding of the various sectors and diversification of our economy, and that you know now where on which door to knock. If you have questions, all the speakers are available to answer to your questions, and of course here our economic sections as well. So thank you very much. Thank you to all.
Gürbüz Bey, sözü tekrar
Yes.
size bırakalım.
Thank you very much to you all, our guest speakers, Her Excellency. It is very wonderful webinar and detailed explanations about business in Luxembourg, investment opportunities in Luxembourg. I thank you very much to you all, and I thank you again for participation and presentation, and see you soon to our next webinar. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.